So welcome to the H-Files 5 in 5. This is a brand new feature where we're going to be serving up the juiciest morsels of wisdom from the H-Files. I'll be endeavouring to do 5 key takeaways in 5 minutes, hence 5 in 5. So this is perfect for when you want all of the insights, but you only have time for the highlights. So today, we're going to be diving into the top takeaways from our chat with MedTech Maestro Spencer Jones. So from learning why it's better to go deep rather than wide, to mastering the art of advocacy and champion development in sales, this episode is packed with Spencer's wit and wisdom. So sit back, relax, and let us deliver the best bits. No fluff, all flavour. So welcome to the H-Files 5 in 5 episode. Today's insights come from an inspiring conversation that I had with Dr. Jonathan Sackier, who is a physician, he's a healthcare entrepreneur, and he's an expert in cutting-edge technologies like AI and robotics. Now, Dr. Sackier shared some invaluable advice for anyone looking to innovate in healthcare. So therefore, I'm very excited to dive right into these top takeaways with you because I've only got 5 minutes, so let's get started. So first up is takeaway number 1, and we were reminded that while it's exciting to introduce a new technology, innovation has to be practical. It has to serve in the healthcare arena a practical purpose. Now think about electronic health records, EHR, and telemedicine. These are revolutionary tools, but they've also shown us that not all innovation solves problems as we'd hoped it would. Dr. Sackier pointed out that EHRs, for example, can be a mixed blessing because whilst they make patient records more accessible, they can also add layers of complexity for doctors and healthcare staff. And true innovation has to mean going beyond the new and creating something that genuinely improves processes. And as Dr. Sackier put it, don't just introduce something new, introduce something better. If the innovation doesn't ease pain points, then it risks becoming another burden rather than a solution. So moving on to takeaway number 2, AI and robotics are transforming healthcare because we emphasize that these tools are no longer futuristic dreams. They're actually practical tools which are reshaping healthcare as we speak. So if you take AI, then this is helping now to predict diseases by analyzing patterns across vast data sets, potentially identifying health risks well before symptoms appear. And robotics, on the other hand, that's changing the way surgeries are performed. It's making them more precise, it's making them less invasive, and ultimately safer for patients. But here's the kicker. These technologies require careful integration because if used correctly, they can drastically improve patient outcomes, but without proper guidance and regulation, they can then create new risks. So Dr. Sackier's takeaway here is that AI and robotics are powerful, but they need to be applied thoughtfully to unlock their full potential. Takeaway number 3 is validate the need for your innovation. Now, this takeaway is especially important for anyone developing a new product in healthcare because we spoke about the concept of informed innovation, which means that before diving into a new idea, you may think it's a great one, but you have to validate the need for it because just because you think it's a great idea doesn't mean that everyone else does. And Dr. Sackier actually shared a very memorable story here about a product idea he had for a surgical light. Now, he was convinced it was going to be the next big thing, but his mentor challenged him to ask other doctors to see if they shared his enthusiasm. And when he did that, it turns out that they didn't. The product wasn't solving a significant problem for them, and that feedback saved him a lot of time and a lot of money. The lesson here, talk to your end users early and often, because if they aren't excited about your idea, it might be time to go back to the drawing board. Only develop solutions for problems that actually need to be solved. Takeaway number 4, understand the regulatory landscape. You'll have heard that millions of times from me. Dr. Sackier explained that regulations in healthcare are, as he eloquently put it, appropriately heavy. This means that while the barriers can be challenging, they should be, they're essential for patient safety and industry standards. But here's the catch. Healthcare innovators often underestimate just how complex the regulations are going to be. Getting a product approved by the FDA, for example, is no small feat, and it's often only the beginning. You need to understand ISO standards, design history files, and quality management processes just as a starting point, especially if you're thinking about going global. And it's not just about getting the products approved. Each market has different reimbursement structures, and we stress the importance of planning for these hurdles from day one. Our advice? Bring in the best regulatory and legal experts that you can afford and listen to them. Healthcare is not the place for shortcuts. This is when Dr. Sackier introduced us to his no asshole or no arsehole rule, depending on where you're listening or watching this podcast, which simply means don't work with people who drain your energy or create a negative environment. He shared that surrounding yourself with people who challenge you in constructive ways can be the difference between a project that thrives and one that falters. And it's not just about the people, it's about the shared purpose. So we talked about and we discussed the Japanese concept of ikigai, or a sense of purpose, which drives a person to work harder and stay focused. Because if you're doing something meaningful, you'll approach it with the dedication it deserves, and you'll attract people who are equally committed to it. So when you're building your team, look for those who bring diversity of thought, who share your mission, and who will support your journey, not hinder it. And there you have it, our top 5 takeaways from Dr. Jonathan Sackier's insights in healthcare innovation. So I hope these points give you a fresh perspective on how to approach new ideas in healthcare, whether it's a product, a service, or just the next steps in your career. Now, if you found this interesting, be sure to listen to the full episode for even more insights on AI, robotics, and building a resilient healthcare business. So until next time, keep innovating with purpose. As always, thank you very much for joining. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast for more 5 in 5 episodes and practical tips on growing and scaling in healthcare. Catch you on the next one.